Hello. So I'm making this video to play catch up on Swedish artist Jonna Lee. She was formerly part of the project I Am, Am I, Who Am I? And I was aware of her doing this project. It was sort of a collaborative project, but it was also mostly just her project. At the same time, she released these music videos with these amazing visuals that she then kind of compiled into these albums. And I have seen some of them. I must admit, I've not seen all of them, probably not even half. And so I do have a lot of homework to catch up on a lot of her back catalog. But actually, when I made my 2018 predictions video, I was made aware of Jonna Lee and that she has an album coming out in a month, February 16th. It's called Everyone Afraid to Be Forgotten. And it's her first solo, I mean, it's not really her first album, but it is her first album using her own name. Her name is actually Jonna Lee, although she spells it with an I because in Swedish you don't say the J sound, you say yo. So instead of Jonna Lee, she writes it as Jonna Lee, Ionna Lee. It makes it easier for people to pronounce it correctly. And so I quickly had to realize I needed to get familiar with this, and I realized she's been releasing a lot of singles over 2017 leading up to this album. She released Samaritan in March, she released Not Human in the summer, and then she released Simmer Down and Gone in the fall, and then she just released this past week the fifth single, Dunes of Sand. And each single is getting more exciting for me. And so I felt like I definitely wanted to make a full review of Dunes of Sand, which is featuring Jamie Irrepressible. I think he's a UK singer. And I like that the fact that she's actually collaborating with someone because I think the male and female vocals counterbalance the song really beautifully and they add an extra sort of dimensionality to it. And there was also a music video that was put out, but this time it's not the actual studio version. It's her singing it live in a kyrka, which means church in Swedish, from where she grew up in Sweden. And so I learned that when I was in Sweden. It's not pronounced kyrka, it's pronounced kyrka. So she sings in this gorgeous small kind of church, and it's just this acoustic stripped back performance with just the organ, with this beautiful organ to accompany. The melody is extremely, all of her melodies, to be completely honest, are extremely interesting, unique. They're not melodies that I have ever heard any sort of variant of before. She is the definition of avant-garde pop and synth pop. She is a real tour de force in terms of boundless creativity. And you see that in all of the music videos that she's releasing for this record so far. I believe that this is actually a visual album, so there's a film that will be released the day of the album. And there may be a music video for every single song. There's 15 songs, so that would be quite a film, and that's quite impressive for someone who's on her own little small label. But then again, she did do that with I Am, Am I, Who Am I? So it's like, well, she's just continuing the story. But I can sense that maybe this time it's a little bit more personal to her because she's really centering this from her own perspective instead of kind of turning into this character that's a bit removed possibly from herself and slightly more esoteric. Not to say that this album isn't esoteric and mystical, though, because oh my goodness, the lyrics are definitely head scratchers in a lot of facets, but they're definitely worth pondering. And there's some ways very general, and then others just overly specific, very much like other songwriters that I love, to craft well-written poetry and verse that just captivates you and really intrigues you. The song titles are very interesting. Dunes of Sand, for example. The lightest dunes of sand are mountains, I let them grow, standing on my own two hands. Not my own 2 feet, my own 2 hands, under your control. My silence is silver, my noise is gold. The metaphors, the similes, it's so rich and thought-provoking, and the imagery conjures up from the lyrics. All these things work together beautifully, though where I will really compliment her is her production. It is immaculate. It's this amazing industrial and gothic, but also at the same time light and airy synth pop and electro pop. I'm not just going to talk about Dunes of Sand here, though I will just wrap up and say that Dunes of Sand has a gorgeous melody. Like I said, it feels triumphant. I love how it adds that breakbeat kind of backing to the end of the song because it amps up the energy and it makes it a little bit more positive instead of a little too much more like a lament. Even though the heaviness is still felt with this song, the ominous presence that this song has. It really kind of does take up the room, and I really appreciate that. And all of these songs sort of transport you, and they feel very visual. There's several songs I love that she's released so far off this record. I, of course, want to talk about Samaritan. That was the first song. I'm not as crazy about Samaritan, and the music video is probably the most interesting that she's come up with so far. It's, talking about, her feeling as though she was being put on this wooden cross and being proselytized into this figure that she really wasn't, maybe by her fans or maybe by this whole project. It's turned into something larger than life, and she's trying to reconcile the fact that she is just a human and she's not so doesn't want to be worshipped. She just wants to be related to. The whole notion of burning the witches at the stake, and religion and Jesus on the cross. All of these analogies to the present day and people and fan bases and all of that, I think, is quite interesting. The interpretive dance that she does is so unique. It's so her style. It's quirky, and it's a little bit like techno inspired. We have Not Human, which is actually one of my favorite songs that she has released. I love Not Human because of the synthesizer work. And I also think the chorus is pretty catchy. It's got a real energy to it, and it's dark and gritty, and it's pained and mournful, and yet at the same time ecstatic. There's some nice samplings in there. I find it to be really interesting and fun. I love how in Not Human you can hear her say the anxious animal. It's so Swedish, because that I know the Swedish accent, and they would say animal. I love hearing that come through. And then the other one I really just had to mention is Simmer Down. I love this song. It is the most mysterious and haunting out of all the songs she's released so far for this album. And it's the one song that doesn't have any visuals for it, which is a shame, because the other song, Gone, it's good, but it's not as memorable for me. It does have an amazing music video, though it's not as amazing as the others. But I wish that Simmer Down had the music video instead. And the fact that we don't have a music video for Simmer Down so far does kind of make me wonder if there is actually a music video for every single song. Like I said, I hope there would be. It's kind of like, if you're going to go at least halfway, you might as well go the whole way. It sounds like this album has been, she's been working on it for many years, and I think it would be really awesome to see a visual for every song, even if it's just a live version, like for Dunes of Sand. So maybe we'll get a visual for it when the album drops. I'll be interested to know. But I had to give a shout out to Simmer Down. Oh my gosh, it's so addictive, and it gets under your skin, and I love that about it. Jonna Lee is an artist that I really wish I discovered sooner. Again, like I said, I've been aware of her, but it was just this vague peripheral awareness, and I really should have given her a lot more attention. So now I am like fully gazed and fixated on whatever she does next, and I'm so excited that I caught her right before the album releases, because it means I don't have to wait too long. It's like the perfect, I didn't know I was waiting for this, and now I only have to wait a month, and I think I can handle waiting a month, considering how some artists make us wait years and years. So I'm very excited. Again, anyone who's a fan of Curly would definitely be a fan of Jonna Lee. I can see them, and they are aware of each other. I can see them being like very similar, with the witchy kind of earthy aesthetic, but also very synth and dance pop based music and electro pop based music. And I see the ambient as well in there influenced, and the visuals, everything. They speak to one another really beautifully. So I'm really excited for this album, and thank you to the person who shouted that out in the comments, because honestly, I would have never gotten into this otherwise. Sometimes it's hard. People suggest things and you ignore it and you don't go off of your instinct, but it's good to sometimes be like, no, I need to check this artist out, because you just never know when you're going to find another artist who is going to become that it artist for you. So I'm really excited for the album. Let me know what you thought about these 5 singles that she has released so far. I am going to go back and watch a lot more of her videos and songs from her other projects. Don't expect a review of them anytime soon, because I have so much I need to review that I've already listened to. I've got seriously too many videos I still need to do. And unfortunately, I can't just devote all my energy to this right now. So I eventually am going to make reviews of Kin, which is an album I know of hers, and all those. I will do it at some point, but it's going to be a little while. But I will be reviewing this new album when it comes out in February. So that will definitely be fun and something to look forward to. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.